Today we're going to be reviewing the VXE R1 SE Plus. I'll be continuing my search for the best budget gear. I'll be comparing to the Logitech Superlight. This is a pretty famous mouse and it is very well known for being super generic. Its performance will be the baseline for the R1 SE Plus and all future budget mice on the channel for that matter. Straight off the bat, when I looked at the instructions, the R1 SE Plus recommends a max of 10 meters for the Wi-Fi dongle, and I thought that was pretty unbelievable for a $27 mouse, so I had to put it to the test. You'll see later in this video how long we can get the dongle away from the computer. So right off the bat, what was inside of the box? It came with a cable, it came with a nice mouse, and it came with some nice skates on it already installed, and they're pretty good. They're not the absolute best on the market, but you don't really need anything more than these. I was wondering, where in the world is the adapter for the USB to plug into? Turns out they just include the cable, but they don't actually give you the little adapter. So I don't know, I guess the cable is just for charging this thing, which is nice, but they said that it is an extra gift if you purchase like a higher trim. So I don't know, why couldn't you just include it? We're already paying $27, what are we gonna pay $30 to get the little like dongle thing? Thankfully I already have one from Logitech, but that's what got me thinking. If they're not actually gonna include a dongle for you to plug in your USB into, then hopefully it works from a long distance, right? So I took that to the absolute extreme. And I basically tried my longest extension cable and I tried to get it as far away as I could. And I'll have to say, I didn't expect it, but it pretty much performed perfectly. Matter of fact, I was really feeling this mouse when the adapter was far away. So maybe it's a new method, I don't know. Obviously it can't be better than it being close to the mouse, but it was really far away and it had no hiccups. So I don't think them not including an adapter is a really big deal, although it would have been nice. Now, for fit and finish, it's definitely a little bit lower quality than a Superlight. I don't know if this is their choice of plastic. Maybe it was lighter. This is a pretty light mouse. It could feel a little better in the hands. It kind of feels a bit like a toy. Then again, it is built pretty solid. It doesn't even flex that much. The clicks are nice, the scroll is nice, the feet are nice, the side buttons are nice. It kind of feels a little bit more ergonomic than a Superlight. It's almost like the Superlight has a kind of a ramp that your fingers like to slide off in the front. And this one kind of catches your fingers. It has a bit of a divot in the front. So yeah, I kind of like the shape actually, and I was getting quite used to it. One of the weird things I noticed though is that this mouse felt better for Valorant for me than for CS. Sprays couldn't quite figure it out on this mouse, but I could tap really well with this mouse on CS. And Valorant, with being more of a tappy game, I guess it kind of just translated naturally over to Valorant. And for a budget setup, I was literally owning in all the death matches. So I would completely recommend this mouse, other than the fact that it feels a little bit cheap in the hand. And I don't really know how long it's going to last. Again, reliability is always an issue with these cheaper products. You don't really know how long it's gonna last. My Superlight, on the other hand, has lasted me 2 years straight already, and the battery life literally lasts forever on there. Now, as far as I'm aware, the battery life on this is pretty good, but you never know how it's going to be after several months, right? So I guess first impressions are pretty good with this mouse though, and the prices have just gone down so much on budget gear for gaming that it's almost unbelievable that you can get a sensor this good for this price in a package like this that's so light, wireless, and has Bluetooth, wired, and 2.4 gigahertz mode. One of the things I don't really understand are the settings. I tried moving them around a bit and it didn't really feel too different. And with the lift off at 1 millimeter, it basically means that when you lift your mouse off by 1 millimeter, it will stop tracking, right? But say I set it to 2 millimeters, I would have to lift it off by 2 millimeters for it to stop tracking. And it's generally better in competitive gaming to have a pretty low lift-off distance so you can have more control over the mouse, because with a lower sensitivity, what a lot of pros tend to do is to swipe and then pick up the mouse and then swipe again. So if you pick up the mouse, you're doing it so fast as a pro player. When they pick it up and go back, you can actually have a little bit of right to left movement in your character unintentionally if your pickup distance is too high. So the problem with this mouse is I set it to its lowest and I was kind of getting like weird hesitations in the mouse when I was doing quick movements. So that is one thing that I don't like about this mouse, and I feel like I have to play around it. I feel like I can be less sloppy with my arm movements. I have to be way more precise, and it is kind of making my hand tense up more, where I could be a little bit more relaxed with the Superlight. While checking the firmware, I realized there was a bunch of settings that I didn't really like that were on by default, so I did switch a few of them. One of them was the smoothing option, and it literally says on the text itself that it adds latency and also changes your input. So why would you want to destroy your aim and add latency? Why would that be on by default? Beats me. Make sure you go on the website, the dashboard, and you change that right away, okay? Make sure it's on the max refresh rate and make sure it's in performance mode. Other than that, nothing else really stands out too much as being bad on this mouse. I really like the click force. I really like the side buttons. I really like the scroll. It does kind of just feel like a baby Superlight. It's like maybe ever so slightly smaller in the hand, but because of its shape, it kind of feels bigger at the same time. It's a really weird explanation, but that's all I could come up with. So yeah, it charged really fast out of the box, and it didn't need any software updates, which is that a good or a bad thing? I don't know. It was manufactured about halfway through last year, so there's been plenty of time since the last update. So the fact that it isn't being constantly updated either means they did a pretty good job with the product, or they're just not really supporting it. Maybe they have their eyes on a new release, maybe another one already released, and I just have the cheap version. The thing is that liftoff issue would be what would prevent me from using this mouse all the time, but I do kind of like it. It's a bit refreshing, and I could see myself picking this back up in the future and switching away from the Logitech just to get a bit of a like refresher or some kind of a breath of new life into my setup. I will probably be going back to my Superlight 2 after this video, but you know, this is really good. You got to keep it in perspective. This is a really cheap mouse, and again, it is unbelievable how good these mice and peripherals in general have gotten. So I'm really excited to see what else VXE brings in, and I'm really excited to see what other budget mice can hold up to this, because this is setting kind of a high standard for budget mice. Like off the gate, I wasn't really even expecting it to be that good. I remember last time I got a $20 mouse a couple years ago, it was garbage. It was literally garbage. So I think the fact that this has one of those 3395 sensors, that it's pretty good. I do have another mouse somewhere in the background there. I don't know if you can see it, but I do have another mouse that has that exact same sensor, but is apparently a little bit lighter, and I can tell that it might have a little bit nicer of a quality plastic. This is kind of that cheap, I don't know if you can see it, but that kind of like weird matte, like toy plastic. I'm really excited for where this channel is gonna head. So yeah, subscribe if you want more budget gaming reviews and long-term reviews on some of my more expensive gaming stuff. So yeah, make sure to subscribe and you'll be the first to know if something really awesome and cheap comes out. Peace, guys.